weekend, so if you want to tell somebody how good it is, do it quickly. This is the Texas premiere of the show. It's played one time before in Louisiana, but this is the first time in Texas. As I said before, we're videoing tonight, so applaud wildly. Make sure it looks like a good show on the video. The snacks you buy at the intermission, and there will be one, you could bring back into the theater while you're watching the second act. We want to let everybody know that a play from the Vortex, Despair's Book of Dreams and Sometimes Radio, is now playing in New York, I mean like tonight. So we've made the big time, as it were. Our next show here is a show called The Soul's Journey, opening on the 24th. And I'm told it's going to be an indoor-outdoor event. So if you saw people building a set out on the outdoor stage, it's going to be everywhere. It should be fun. Let me mention that there's a lot of Vortex collectibles on sale out in the lobby in front of the cage. Feel free to get in the cage if you want to. And finally, let me please ask you to set your cell phones and pagers on stun. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, William Shakespeare.
Spectators, good evening. With pleasure, now before you here I stand, William Shakespeare. In Stratford-upon-Avon born, 1564 the year, the 23rd April, my anniversary, 436. Your kind applause now grants to me immortality and license to traverse in time. I am will and time combined. To dust on my birthday, I returned in 1616. Though I'm now dead, all to the world must die. The earth yields me but a common grave. My words entombed in men's eyes shall lie. My monument shall be my gentle verse, which eyes not yet created shall read. History I reshaped, crafted words and worlds, and peopled them with characters immortal for this little O, the world and the stage. Through time I travel, and in space I live, a spirit from thin air. And with me bring a bountiful bouquet of roses sweet and thistles purple-thorned. Women, whom my plays and plots adorn as inspirations for the best and genius for the worst in men. Arms and the Man, Troilus and Cressida celebrates, a play of the Greek and Trojan wars, of heroes, honor, duty, and loyalty. Here is Cressida, a hero's prize. Where is her Trojan garb, you ask? Her costume shows my universal flair. The Siege of Sidon in 73 is her production's place. A fickle betrayer and not too bright. A charming, tempting thistle, Cressida. This is a woman of patience and virtue. A pawn of power in the pageant of English history. The Spanish Rose, Catherine, the first unfortunate wife of King Henry and Henry VIII. Through history again comes the next, the will and heart of man to capture. The barge she set in like a burnished throne burned on the water. Purple the sails and so perfumed that the winds were lovesick with them. As for her own person, it beggared all description, rare Egyptian. Other women cloy the appetites they feed, but she makes hungry where most she satisfies. My exotic thistle of the Nile, Cleopatra. Behold, this remarkable woman, a rose in Julius Caesar. The part is small, dwarfed by Caesar Brutus in questions of authority and right. A timeless tale. Her costume is cut to grace a fascist empire in Europe, 1935. This Rose, Portia, loyal, enduring wife of Brutus. Two loves I have, of comfort and despair, which like to spirits do suggest me still. The better Rose is a maid right fair, the worst a thistle-coloured ill, powerful and perverse, a woman whose own ambition deformed her son and delivered him to a mindless mob. Coriolanus, the tragedy, represented by his fierce mother, Volumnia, a dangerous thistle, appearing here from Serbia, 1914. A director's choice, but good, I think. Their times are often brutal. Mother as martyr, a familiar ploy describes ambitious Constance. She dances in disaster, makes her tears her jewels, glories in grief and pursues power. Beware her net of pity. Constance, from the tragedy of King John. And this, the proud Margaret, bloodthirsty harpy and nagging hag, Mags the hag. She appears in 4 of my plays, the King Henry VI trilogy and Richard III. She, a chorus to my events, has nothing but obsession. Constance and Margaret, both transplanted thistles from our enemies France, approach with care. And this is my Wonder Woman, Amelia, an exotic Amazon from legend and imagination who leaps from my obscure too noble kinsman. A colorful thistle, a desirable perversity, and epitome of man's historic fantasies. Isabella, who rushed from a convent to save her foolish brother, a virtuous Rose, long-suffering, noble. She wins favor of a royal husband through her chastity in Measure for Measure. And of course, Perdita, lovely lost soul, like Persephone in Hades' Lost, from A Winter's Tale, Hermione's lamented daughter. Gaze upon them if you will. Beauty icons, dangerous ease, women who love, nurture, or deceive. Appropriate types of womanhood for study?
No! No, this is ridiculous! We need intervention here!
Madam, is this my Rosalind for this century? We have no place for you this year.
A pedestal for a woman today? I am Virginia Woolf, an admirer of you and your virtuosity, and a writer in the 20th century. But how do you appreciate women? You marry off the witty ones to fools, murder innocent wives, and drive sweethearts insane.
A woman disguised as a learned poet, and in pants amazing. Good premise for a comedy, but not for a masterpiece.
Masterpiece. Master work, master stroke, master shift. Mistress piece. Ooh, that sounds bawdy, doesn't it? Like masturbate.
Oh, and she plays with words. Extraordinary.
Extraordinary. You must know the ordinary woman first. The average woman's life, children, income, her own space, her support system. Only then can you pretend to know an extraordinary woman.
These are my timeless, extraordinary creatures. Mine.
And in your time, which one was ordinary? Consider. What if you had a sister?
If I had a sister.
With talent and a dream, to birth rulers and realms and poetry. Not babes. Use my wits. Clever girl she is, she will produce fine boys. In truth, a storyteller I am of note, binding the boys and girls in Stratford with the wonder of words.
Not possible, not for an ordinary small-town woman.
Exactly. What do we know about them? You don't invent them unless wenches, perhaps.
They have no real dramatic interest. Creations like Rosalind can shape their own destiny, but in the end, she knows that her happiness lies with a husband, or they are consumed by their ambition, like Volumnia, Constance, or Margaret.
Wrong. We will not be someone's property. We will not be beaten. We will not bear children until we die in birth or spend our days washing or waiting or digging roots. What would remain of the day to think, to write, to speak? The food is eaten, the clothes dirty and house rushes soiled, a birthing each year, a burial often. No, I too am a poet, with a voice. No, actually, Will, they all have voices too.
But words, ideas, these are a man's. Language is a man's strength.
The voice of the bard. But, true enough, it is difficult to have a woman's heart and body in a man's sentences and paragraphs for expression.
No, I too am willing. I will and would grasp more than Stratford. I will seek beyond. Ride the Avon to the Thames and on to London. Oh, but I must explore to know, must be free to adventure, to have a time and a place to write and to be heard.
He's a master of the language, but needs tutoring in women. These women will be the subjects now of the action, not the objects of scrutiny and desire and analysis on pedestals. Judith, if she'd been permitted, would have had her own knowledge. Would women then have been limited to supporting roles, prickly ambitious harpies, or trophies and scapegoats? Ladies, this is a new voice for you. Meet Judith, Shakespeare's sister.
The play's the thing wherein to catch the conscience of our king.
I am not a masterpiece.
We are not on pedestals. We will represent ourselves.
I have a voice.
I will shape my own body and destiny.
I am not literary history.
Hold, hold! How sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child.
I'll ne'er believe a madman till I see his brain.
Come not betwixt a dragon and her wrath. No! Not in the light. Not tonight. Never was a man so well abused.
Music would be lovely. Oh, mistress mine, where are you roaming? Oh, stay and hear your true love's coming, that can sing both high and low. Go no further, handsome sweet. Go no further, handsome sweet. Journeys ending, lovers meeting, every mother's daughter knows. What is love? 'Tis not hereafter. For present mirth hath present laughter. What's to come is still unsure. In delay there lies no plenty. There lies no plenty. Then come kiss me, sweet and 20. Use of stuff will not endure.
What's to come is still unsure. Use of stuff will not endure.
Stuff. We are such stuff as dreams are made on. Ages long.
Am I who I see? Extra skin around the knees, youth invisible as dreams.
History's especially unkind to Shakespeare's history plays.
Ha! An oxymoron. History play, history lame.
History for entertainment, maybe with action, dates, discoveries, names, battles, heroes, stories of men, Will.
Once more into the breach, dear friends, once more. Or close the wall up with our English dead. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George!
Henry V? Maybe. Probably not. Henry VI place? No.
Exactly. What was the War of the Roses? Answer, a movie about a 20th century marriage.
Really?
King John.
Robin Hood, Maid Marian.
No. Will's play. My play. My son and I are wonderfully human, but we're on the losing side, of course. We were brave, but the men have neither respect nor pity. The ruthless King John orders that his men put out my son's eyes, and later on, in an attempt to escape, Arthur falls to his death from the castle wall. I am betrayed by the men in power, false blood to false blood joined. Teach me to believe this sorrow. Teach this sorrow how to make me die, and let life and belief encounter so. Oh, my son, then where art thou? France, friend with England, what becomes of me? I could not abide the treachery of John and Fortune. I would be content if I did not love my son, if he did not deserve a crown. But he was fair, and at his birth nature and fortune made him great.
The men demand that you bind up your hair. They say your grief is unseemly and overwrought.
You talk to me that never had a son? Grief fills the room up of my absent child. Lies in his bed. Walks up and down with me. Puts on his pretty looks. Repeats his words. Remembers me of all his gracious parts. Stuffs out his vacant garments with his form. Then have I reason to be fond of grief.
They say she does not really care about her son. She mourns the loss of power. She grieves for the pomp and adulation as Queen Mother.
Too ambitious or hysterical. The 19th century critics censured my character. Her pain offended their propriety. Before that, I was a famous Shakespeare woman. A role played by the greatest actors. Damned if you do and if you don't.
Like Will's Jeanne d'Arc.
A single flame, the woman remembered in her play.
In Henry VI, she's bawdy, clever, courageous, and direct.
Not Frances Saint.
Will calls her Joan La Pucelle. She begins proud, confident in her mission. To the French court she proclaims, "C'est moi, Jeanne d'Arc." God created me his hero. Mary and the angels lead me to save France. I am by birth a shepherd's daughter, my wit untrained in any kind of art. Heaven and Our Lady gracious hath it pleased to shine on my contemptible estate. Lo, whilst I waited on my tender lambs, and to sun's parching heat displayed my cheeks, God's mother deigned to appear to me, and in a vision full of majesty willed me to leave my base vocation and free my country from calamity. My courage try by combat if thou darest, and thou shalt find that I exceed my sex.
The Dauphin thinks she's a joke. He says, what can a mere girl with a sword do to me? Come in God's name, I fear no woman.
And while I live, I'll ne'er fly from a man.
Have to go.
Oh!
Stay still, thy hands are off and Amazon and fight us with the sword of Deborah.
I want you to die in battle with a sword in my hands, not on a spit like a roasted lamb. To lead and to win for France, hero, not martyr.
But Will's Joan La Pucelle's hero, and no saint. Before her last battle, the comfort appears as a mask of fiends. She asks their aid, but even devils forsake her.
And her shepherd father rejects her. Dost thou deny thy father, cursed drab? Oh, burn her, burn her! Hanging is too good.
Will takes away her voices, her family, and her pride. At the last moment, he has her trying to save her life by claiming to be with child.
The final judgment for our hero? Break thou in pieces and consume to ashes, thou foul, accursed minister of hell.
Unforgettable.
No, the point is that saint or sinner, she's not remembered in Shakespeare. My part. To rear
and nurture a hero for my country. Within this breast beats a hero's heart, but my role was mother, his glory mine.
For us, the child determines the mother's fate. How different my life if my Mary would have been a worthy male successor for King Henry, a male child.
Men condemn, criticize me for my conviction.
Too strong for a woman, unwomanly.
Men have a problem with those child-devouring, castrating females.
Coriolanus, my son, is my glory, and all that I would be as well. Follow valor, seize honor. This was his bedtime story. Seek danger where you find fame. As a boy, he returned from a cruel war, his brows bound with oak leaves of victory.
But his life, his safety.
A battle sanctifies death. I schooled him in the arts of war, honor, and policy. Still, he was too stubborn to value the art of negotiation.
Very manly. Did he refuse to ask directions?
Pride unbalanced him. He bridled when the elders did not appreciate him properly. When I tutored him in making peace, his words were knives. Oh, mother, what have you done? Behold, the heavens do open, the gods look down, and this unnatural scene they laugh at. You have won a happy victory to Rome, but for your son, believe it, oh, believe it, most dangerously you have with him prevailed, if not most mortal, to him! No. All women would, dissemble with our nature, where fortunes and friends at stake require. I should do so in honor.
Truly spoken.
I create the great hero Coriolanus, who is like the oak. But I cannot teach him to bend to necessity like bamboo until it is too late. I saved the city and sacrificed my son.
You sent him to sure death.
His valor was mine. His pride was his own.
He was torn apart by the rabble.
The hero shows his scars, his medals, to the people. These are my scars. A country saved. A hero sacrificed.
Scars marked by life.
Your face and hands, so many creases and folds. That is our geography, about a half a century.
Her fate.
My history. A map. A geography of my journey.
Markers and medals.
But my face, it remains smooth through all of our time. I'm always old, that is my play. Margaret changes.
You and I remain the same as when we started. No matter where we are in this immortality Will gives us.
I am in 4 plays. Here.
What is this story?
Oh. I was a young French lady. Wait! No giggles. This was a dimple in a face that won a nation. I smiled and lords bowed down. I was joyous and free. They saw me as ripe and fertile for saintly King Henry VI. Lord Suffolk was the agent.
Oh, fairest beauty, do not fear or fly, for I kiss these fingers for eternal peace.
As if he did not know. Margaret my name, daughter to a king. Earl I am, Suffolk I am called, he said.
My hand would free you, but my heart says no.
His word deepened the dimple, and I blushed. What ransom must I pay?
She is beautiful, therefore to be wooed. She is woman, therefore to be won.
That was before I had these other journeys. He wanted me for his paramour and for his king. Now I know tricks, but not then. Oh no, not then. Talks at random. Sure, the man is mad.
I'll win this lady, Margaret. For whom? Why, for my king. Tush, that's a wooden thing.
Talks of wood. It is some carpenter. Being young, I did not know how men are always ready to screw. Like true carpenters, a dimple and a blush. And so was Franz Wood. And so one.
Ah, a woman like a piece of land, a chattel.
The dimple now points down and like a tear stains your cheek. What are these 2 carvings between your eyes?
Fear, loneliness, premonition, homesickness. On the voyage to England, the wind seemed to say, seek not a scorpion's nest, nor set footing on this unkind shore. I stood upon the hatches in the storm. I took a costly jewel from my neck, a heart it was, bound in with diamonds, and threw it towards this land. The sea received it, and so I wished his body might my heart.
Her wish wasn't granted.
England was as hard, cold, and sunless as the king. He cared for his prayers and soul. I was a womb to weld and wield empires.
Another pious carpenter. Like another famous one, perhaps.
Humor helps, otherwise it is so hopeless to be left out.
Or dismissed and banished. It is bitter to be queen or a princess.
Your Henry was strong. Mine was timorous, disinheriting our son, destroying the house of Lancaster.
Oh, these must be fateful turns.
Yes. Aged, but now wise, I led the battle to win for the Red Rose. I am no longer naive and young. I capture the traitor, Lord Clifford. I confront the traitor. To make thee mad, I do mock thee. Stamp, rave, and fret that I may sing and dance. Oh, you cannot speak unless you wear Henry's crown. Now he looks like a king. Ay, this is he that took my husband's chair, and this is he was his adopted heir. Off with the crown, and with the crown, his head.
For this they call you she-wolf of France, whose tongue more poisons than the adder's tooth, an Amazonian troll. Oh, thank you very much. I call that a compliment.
And now here I am as I appear in Richard III.
Oh, your eyes see beyond me.
Old men are noble, sage, revered. Old women are crones and witches.
Old men can be tragic and elevated even in their folly. They rage against the unjust universal.
Like Cordelia's father.
Yes, King Lear. Blow, winds, and crack your cheeks! Rage, blow, you cataracts and hurricanos! Spout till you have drenched the steeples and drowned the cocks! Singe my white head, and thou all-shaking thunder, strike flat the thick rotundity of the world!
Oh, lady, quart holy water in a dry house is better than this rainwater out of doors. Good inn, lady, ask thy daughter's blessing. Here's a night that pays neither wise woman nor fool.
Yes, old men appear noble, old women mad.
In Richard III, Will, they call me mad. No, but I do confront the dangerous king. Damn the consequences. Stay, dog, for thou shalt hear me. If heaven have any grievous plague in store, exceeding those that I could wish upon thee, oh, let them keep it till thy sins be ripe. The worm of conscience still be gnaw thy soul. Thy friends suspect for traitors, while thou livest and take thee traitors for thy dearest friends. No, sleep close up that deadly eye of thine, unless it be while some tormenting dream affright thee with the hell of ugly devils, thou elvish, marked, abortive, rooting hog, thou that was sealed in thy nativity, the slave of nature and the son of hell.
Oh, thou well skilled in curses, stay a while and teach me how to curse mine enemies.
From charmer to crone, the map of a woman's cycle in her face. Let's have from virgin to wise woman.
Will, don't tell me I am just a chorus to the plot.
But why are vengeance or curses unnatural or humorous for this woman when for a man it would be
Expected.
Admired for its nobility or wit.
If you call getting soaked and asking the elements to get revenge for you noble, how do men ever win? My audience was the elements and the cold stones. No choice for me but duty, not love. I could only obey the church and the state. Duty is what I know. My marriage was to a king, solidifying a union between Spain and England. When he died, I was married to his brother, Henry VIII. When I produced no male heir, I was dispensable and annulled, exiled until death in a drafty English castle.
Like Joan, we must find the inner voice to guide our way.
The English priests were politicians. Their voices for the king, not the pope. All hoods make not monks.
They want a tidy, quiet divorce. Put her aside. It is right for the good of the state and the treasury.
They seek me out to betray me. Holy men, I thought ye, upon my soul, two reverend cardinal virtues, but cardinal sins and hollow hearts, I fear ye. Mend 'em. For shame, my lords, is this your comfort? The cordial that ye bring, a wretched lady, a woman lost among ye, laughed at, scorned. I will not wish ye half my miseries, I have more charity. But say I warned ye, take heed. For heaven's sake, take heed, lest at once the burden of my sorrows fall upon ye.
Madam, this is a mere distraction. You turn the good we offer into envy.
He turned me into nothing. The king's banished me his bed already. His love too long ago. I am old, my lords, and all the fellowship I hold now with him is only my obedience. What can happen to me above this wretchedness? They think I am simple, and thus weakened by privation and isolation, they expect an easy mark. Let me speak myself, since virtue finds no friends. A wife, a true one, a woman, I dare say, without vainglory, never yet branded with suspicion. Have I, with all my full affection, still met the king, loved him next heaven, obeyed him, been out of fondness, superstitious to him, almost forgot my prayers to content him, and I am thus rewarded. They puff up like toads. 'Tis not well, lords, bring me a constant woman to her husband, one that ne'er dreamed a joy beyond his pleasure, and to that woman, when she has done most, yet I will add in honor a great patience. Nothing but death shall e'er divorce my dignities. Would I had never trod this English earth, or felt the flatteries that grow upon it. Those hypocrites. Ye have angels' faces, but heaven knows your hearts. What shall become of me now, wretched lady? I am the most unhappy woman living. Like the lily that was once mistress of the field and flourished, I'll hang my head and perish.
Oh, the disgrace is for the royals. They destroy those who will not be like them. Lift your head. You, no woman, needs a man's bed or throne to be honored.
You didn't capitulate. You had wit and faith. You survived.
You still burn with passion, my dear. Your heat warms my chilled bones.
Age cannot wither her. Aging, losing power, losing my country, my world, my Antony.
Take thy lute. My soul grows sad with troubles. In sweet music is such art, killing care and grief of heart.
Dance with destiny. This is the balm, Catherine. But my way is sovereignty.
Sovereignty, even in defeat.
Gains are my milieu, and my final one is with Octavius Caesar. Like Margaret and Catherine, we are of history before we are wills. I dreamed there was an Emperor Antony. Oh, such another sleep that I might see but such another man. His face was as the heavens, and therein stuck a sun and moon which kept their course and lighted the little the earth. For bounty there was no winter in it, and autumn 'twas that grew the more by reaping. Think there was or might have been such a man as this I dreamed of.
No, madam.
You lie. But if there be or ever was one such, it's past the size of dreaming.
Good madam, your loss is as yourself great, and you bear it as an answering weight.
Thank you, Charmian. Know you what Caesar plans to do with me?
I'm loath to tell you what I would you knew.
He'll lead me then in triumph?
Madam, he will. I know it.
Make way!
Make
for
way!
Caesar!
Make way!
For Caesar!
Arise, you shall not kneel. I pray you, arise, Egypt.
The gods will have it thus. My master and my lord I must obey. He was a willing toy.
Take to you no hard thoughts. The records of what injuries you did us we shall remember as things but done by chance.
He thinks that he, a cold runt, can conquer me as he occupied my country. I, the woman who was worshipped by giants, as my lord desires.
Apply yourself to our intents, which towards you are most gentle. You shall find a benefit in this change. I must take my leave.
And may through all the world, 'tis yours, and we, your signs of conquest, shall hang in what place you please.
Be cheered. Our care and pity is so much upon you that we remain your friend. And so, adieu.
He words me, girls, he words me, that I should not be noble to myself. But hark thee, Charmian. Oh, think, Iris, how shalt be shown with me in Rome.
The gods forbid!
The quick comedians in Proviso will stage us and present our Alexandrian rebels. Antony shall be brought drunken forth, and I shall see some squeaking Cleopatra boy by greatness in the foster of a whore.
Oh, ye gods!
Nay, that's certain. That's the way to fool their preparation and to conquer their most absurd intents. Show me my women like a queen, straighten my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me. Methinks I hear Antony call. I see him rouse himself to praise my noble act. I hear him mock the luck of Caesar. Husband, I come. Now to that name my courage prove my title. I am fire and air, my other elements I give to base or life. Good Charmian, Iris, long farewell. Oh, poor venomous fool, be angry and dispatch. Couldst thou speak that I might hear thee call great Caesar ass on policy?
Break, break!
Sweet as ball, soft as air, as gentle, oh, and
She shall be buried by her Antony. No grave upon the earth shall clip in it a pair so famous.
You worded him, my dear.
So brave and courageous, but I prefer happy endings.
That is not in our history. And I often wonder what is happy or comedy.
Death is not the worst ending.
oh, death comes to all. A woman can sometimes choose how she meets.
Sounds so grand and so sad. If you want sad, what about Measure for Measure? Not amusing. Dear, I don't know what sad means. It has a simplicity. Life's ambiguity demands Sophia, a wisdom.
Well, Portia is wise.
A bit stoic for my taste, of course.
Like her husband, Brutus. A stoic's calm strength. But there's a rub. Everyone knows Caesar, but not Calpurnia, his wife. They know Brutus, but not me. I watched Brutus, distracted for days with conspirators coming and going in the night. Although he has always shared with me before, this time he is silent. Finally, late at night, I approach him. You have some sycophants within your mind, Brutus, which by right and virtue of my place I ought to know of, and upon my knees I charm you. By my once commended beauty, by all your vows of love, and that great vow which did incorporate and make us one, that you unfold to me. Yourself, your half, why you are heavy. And what men tonight have had resort to you, for here have been some 6 or 7 who did hide their faces even from darkness.
Kneel not, gentle Portia.
At least he raised me up as an equal. Caesar leaves Calpurnia on her knees. I should not kneel if you were gentle, Brutus. Within the bond of marriage, tell me, Brutus, is it accepted I should know no secrets that appertain to you? Am I yourself but as it were in sort or limitation? To keep with you at meals, comfort your bed, and talk to you sometimes? Dwell I but in the suburbs of your good pleasure? If it be no more, Portia is Brutus's harlot, not his wife.
You are my true and honorable wife, as dear to me as are the ruddy drops that visit my sad heart.
If this were true, then should I know this secret? I grant, I am a woman, but withal a woman that Lord Brutus took to wife. I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman well reputed, Cato's daughter. Think you I am no stronger than my sex, being so fathered and so husbanded? Tell me your counsels, I will not disclose them.
She is a stoic.
I have made strong proof of my constancy, giving myself a voluntary wound here in the thigh. Can I bear that with patience and not my husband's secrets?
Then she is noble. Only then he can see her worth. What does it take to succeed as a woman? She must stab herself.
No, it is more than that. It is my blood bond, my pledge to be faithful to his enterprise.
We require to be twice as good, twice as wise, twice as loyal, twice as tolerant of pain.
Lots of flexibility and humor.
Think of Lady Percy, Hotspur's wife. She belongs here too.
So sprightly and affectionate. Oh, she also seeks answers from her husband, but she's eclipsed by the big events of Henry IV. We are similar.
Ah, but she's no stoic. Oh, my good lord, why are you thus alone? For what offence have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? Tell me, sweet, my lord, what is that takes from thee thy pleasure, stomach, and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eye upon the earth and start so often when thou sittst alone? What portents are these? Some heavy business hath my lord at hand, and I must know it, else he loves me not. But hear you, my lord.
What sayest thou, my lady?
I will make him listen. Come, you parakeeto. Answer me directly into this question that I ask. In faith,
I'll break thy little finger, Harriet, if thou wilt not tell me all things true. Away, you trifler, love. I love thee not. I care not for thee, Kate. This is no world to play with mammoths and to tilt with lips. God's me my horse.
do not love me. Do you not indeed? Well, do not then, for since you love me not, I will not love myself.
When I am a horseback, I will swear I love thee infinitely.
But he doesn't tell her. He says he knows she is wise, but no farther wise than Harry Percy's wife. Constant you are, but yet a woman. And for secrecy no lady closer. For I well believe thou wilt not utter what thou dost not know. And so far I will trust thee.
Men, no trust. For I do believe that Will has a bone to pick.
I do believe Will has little trust in women.
Not unless they stab themselves.
My act was a bond.
That you keep by swallowing fire. Fire, lava, coal, acid? Goddess! Different dexes.
An available one.
Some of us hardly have an entrance. Fulvia, another noble Roman matron.
Poor soul.
Fulvia.
Antony's wife.
Before Octavia, who was before, without face or voice, except in history.
Rallying and leading Antony's army against Caesar while he dallied in Egypt.
Another warrior. She lives only by report, angry about her husband's affair, with a shrill tongue.
Why did he marry Fulvia and not love her?
Or Octavia, advantage, my dear.
Oh, so Will makes me petty and Fulvia expendable.
But Antony is despicable. Will actually does women a service here.
The messenger arrives and is blunt. Lord Antony, Fulvia, thy wife, is dead.
Well, there's a great spirit gone. Thus did I desire, without contempt doth often hurl from us, we wish it ours again. She's good being gone.
I could see in Fulvia's death how mine should be received. Men
Our
are
faults.
Fulvia dead.
And forgotten.
Will says women are fickle. Where's the nobility in Antony? There's nobility in Fulvia and Portia. Wasn't that fire thing really painful?
Yes.
I chose survival with the Greeks, or Viet Cong in this production.
You are in Saigon, 1973, surrounded by the Viet Cong. Your Uncle Pandarus is trying to convince you to have a liaison with Troilus. Why?
Have you any discretion? Have you any eyes? Do you know what a man is? It is not birth, beauty, good shape, discourse, manhood, learning, gentleness, virtue, youth, liberality, and such like. The spice and salt that season a man.
Aye, a minced man, and then to be baked with no date in the pie, then man's date's out.
You are such a woman. One knows not at what way you lie.
Upon my back to defend my belly, upon my wit to defend my wiles, my mask to defend my beauty, mine secrecy to defend my honesty, and you to defend all these wards that I watch. If I could not ward what I would not have hit, I can watch you for telling how I took the blow. Unless it's well past hiding, then it's past watching.
You're such another! But you love Troilus!
Wait, Perdita. Men don't want an easy prize. They have to work for their victories. Women are angels when men are wooing. Things won are done. Therefore, this maxim out of love I teach. Achievement is command, ungained beseeched. Then though my heart's content firm love doth bear, nothing of that from mine eyes shall appear.
But why can't you tell of your love? Honest, God's truth.
A woman knows to parley to advantage.
Yes, good point. To survive a man's war, she must be more clever than Odysseus.
But Will gives me no will, no brain. He thinks I am no better than the tradition he inherited. After I meet the enemy Diomedes, I say, Troilus, farewell. One eye yet look on thee, but with my heart the other eye doth see. Poor our sex! This fault in us I find, the air of our eye directs our mind, and whate'er leads must err. Oh, then conclude, minds swayed by eyes are full of turpitude.
But where are you? The real you, and not the image. The dress, the shoes, the fickle nature in all this.
It is difficult to know. Tradition dictates how we are interpreted on stage.
To whom should we be faithful if not to ourselves?
Reject the expected. Write a new script.
Create a new role. We're punished for that, too. For my rewrite, I tell our parents that marriage to the wool stapler is hateful. I am only 16. He beats me and bribes me, and I make up a bundle and set off for London.
Another wordsmith with a quick wit. But she's not allowed to succeed in London. London, a woman alone. Because of her gift, her spirit, and her gender. The world will destroy her.
I confide my dreams to Nick Green, the actor-manager. Come on, girlie, he coos. I'll help you achieve your potential.
No.
Soon I'm carrying his child.
The casting couch. Pregnancy, another blow with her poet's heart trapped in her woman's body.
She kills herself one winter's night and lies buried at some crossroads like a criminal.
Another fatality, Will!
The end of many unhappy lives.
The toll for some journeys is too high.
Wait! Why are expedient, prudent choices like Cressida
Politic choices of our lives.
not acceptable? Should she go insane like Ophelia, or die like Judith or Juliet? Why must Cressida's ability to survive, even with a Greek, be fickle and immoral?
Virtue of necessity. I guess I could have jumped off the building.
A woman's body is a trophy. In Measure for Measure, the whole issue is my body is an object of trade, like a currency. But the price for literacy was celibacy, and I wanted education and expansion.
You cannot have a candle under a habit. You must leave your calling to come to Lord Angelo's palace in order to save your brother Claudio's life.
I asked Lord Angelo for my brother's life.
Hypocrisy in men. Claudio's crime is fornication, and Angelo's false blood. Hypocrisy.
Lord Angelo offers a barter. My brother's life for my chaste body.
When you refuse and threaten to expose his lust, he just laughs. Ha ha! Who would believe you? He says, against a great lord.
Then Isabel lived chaste, for my brother would prefer to die. Here is Claudio in prison.
Now, sister, what's the comfort? Is there no remedy?
None but such remedy as to save your head and cleave our heart in two.
Let me know the point.
Darest thou die? The sense of death is most in apprehension, and the poor beetle that we tread upon in corporal sufferance finds a pang as great as when a giant dies.
If I must die, I will encounter darkness as a bride and hug it in mine arms.
Yes, spoke my brother. There my father's grave did utter forth the voice, yes, Thou must die, thou art too noble to conserve a life. Dost thou think, Claudio, if I would yield him my virginity, thou mightst be freed?
Oh, heavens. No, it cannot be.
Yes. This night's the time that I must do what I abhor to name, or else thou diest tomorrow.
Thou shalt not do it!
Oh, were it but my life, I'd throw it down for your deliverance as frankly as a pin.
Thanks, dear Isabel.
Be ready, Claudio, for your death tomorrow.
Yes. And yet, Angelo is wise. Sure, it is no sin if he would ask it, or of the deadly seven, it is the least.
Which is the least?
Well, if it were damnable, Angelo being so wise... Isabel!
What says my brother? Can you believe this?
Death is a fearful thing!
And a shame and life's a hateful one!
Aye, but to die, and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction and to rot, to become a kneaded clod, the dilated spirit to bathe in fiery floods!
Guess what?
Sweet sister, let me live! What sin you do to save a brother's life, nature dispenses with the deed so far that it becomes a virtue!
Oh, you beast! Oh, faithless coward! Oh, dishonest wretch! Wilt thou be made a man out of my vice? I'll pray 1,000 prayers for thy death, no word to say.
Nay, hear me!
Bye! Thy sin's not accidental, but a profession. 'Tis best that he dies quickly.
He wants you to feel at fault.
To feel selfish.
How can I do this to him?
To change your mind.
Yes, brother, anything to save you.
Apologize.
Forgive me, what was I thinking?
Vanish.
Confess my most grievous fault.
Sacrifice.
Capitulate.
I will be true to myself.
And not be expected, you know.
We are carefully taught that we must put husbands, families, and brothers.
King and country first.
Our desires are suspect if not in line with the traditional, the expected.
I desire the contemplative life in the convent, away from the world of men. No way. Will marries me to the noble duke in the end? The happy ending?
Women are expected to love man, marry, and tend to his home. But Amazons? No. We prefer riding into battle with a double-bladed battle axe, the bow and arrow, hunting, banqueting, and enjoying in the company of women.
Will's Amazon, Emilia.
Not quite. In history, in Herodotus and Plutarch, and in Homer, I am my true self, Orinthia. Will names me Emilia. I think it must have been to gain favor from a lady. In his creation, Will tames my sister Hippolyta, the greatest of all Amazons, and me. Although far from my Black Sea home, my blood still stirs to conjure the dry, dusty, wind-swept Russian steppes beneath my horse's hooves, and longs for the nomad's life with my friends beside me, and a visible horizon as far as my eye can see.
Orinthia, enchanting.
So, here am I in Athens with Hippolyta, in the two noble kinsmen. The air is soft. The scent of jasmine, heavy. The purple sea beyond us and the lime tree swaying gently. Our hearts turn to absent love. She longs for Theseus, who is away at war, and I, for the first time, tell her of the great love of my life. Once was a time when I enjoyed a playfellow. We were but 11.
It was Flavina.
Yes, she and I sighed and spoke of things innocent, loved merely because we did, and like the elements that know not what nor why, yet do affect rare things by their work, our soul did so to one another. What she liked was and of me approved, and what not condemned. And this rehearsal has this end. That true love between maid and maid may be more than those in maid and men.
You're out of breath. And this high-speeded pace is but to say that you shall never, like the maid Flavina, love any that's called man.
I am sure I shall not.
If I were right for your persuasion, you have said enough to shake me from the ark of the all-noble Theseus.
I am not against your faith, sister, yet I continue mine.
We both want lives removed from men.
Will safely marries you both a hope.
Are Amazons mythical?
Mythical? Mythical. Herodotus and Homer both write about a tribe of women.
Like the 20th century Wonder Woman. Beautiful as Aphrodite and wiser than Athena.
Stronger than Hercules and swifter than Mercury.
With magic bracelets and rope. Perhaps all. Perhaps not. But real. We fought with Penthesilea at Troy and built the temple to Diana at Ephesus where Mary chose to die. Men say we are myth because they cannot imagine a woman who does not want a man and lives successfully without a man's care and protection. Oh, Perdita, you are an Amazon.
An Amazon. Yes. Waiting to be discovered.
A wise woman in your resilience to journey one step at a time.
Resilience. I am your duty to yourself.
I am your courage of conviction.
Courage?
I, your voice against injustice.
And I, your enduring allure.
I am your wisdom and integrity.
Wisdom.
It takes time, dear.
I, a shaper of destiny.
I, a witty survivor.
And not on a pedestal.
Gentles? Do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend, and our ending is despair unless I be relieved by prayer, and your indulgence set me free.
Your mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun.
Noted.
Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why, then her breasts are done.
So be it.
If hairs are wires, then black wires grow on her head.
I have seen roses, damask, red and white.
But no such roses see I in her cheeks.
Remembered.
And in some perfumes is there more delight
Than in the breath that from my mistress reeks.
Admitted.
I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound.
Ladies, I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground, and yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare.
Will you explain for me?
Oh, mistress mine, where are you roaming?
Let's have music, please.
Oh, mistress mine, where are you roaming? Oh, stay and hear your true love's coming, that can sing both high and low. Go no further, handsome sweet. in ourselves do lie, which we ascribe to heaven. The fated sky gives us free scope, only doth backward pull our slow designs when we ourselves are dull. Now is the very witching hour. Enough of words. It is time. We need memorable acts.
Our time now, the act's ours.
We need a muse of fire for our invention. A kingdom for a stage, princesses to act, and queens to behold the swelling scene.
The fault is not in our stars, but in ourselves. Moving through centuries like statues, always letting someone else say who we are.
We staged, reinterpreted, directed, analyzed, and not just on stage either, but our secrets.
This is good. This is very good to plumb the mysteries.
Hidden even from you. They are captured in eternity's hourglass.
I see time not as a running sand, but as an army. Time marches, deploys in line.
Please, not military images. Men love metaphors for fight and war. Let's flow.
As immortals, we have a river of time.
Arc and arch, folding through space.
How transforming through centuries, racing with new eyes.
Time is a setting sun, the faint end of an echo.
A tolling funereal when you're in my time, looking back and reflecting over choices.
And things in which we had no choice. My time is the wind, polishing stone, moving where there's no freedom, no possibility, worn away by foreign tongues, carved by treachery.
Trapped in time in a dark house. Days turning slowly. Property of a man. Giving birth, nursing, feeding, dying. Without ever finding my poetic voice.
Time is the warrior's wheel of fortune. We rise and we fall at her when, like heroes.
Fall, winter, spring, summer. Blooming, fruiting,
Dropping, decaying, sleeping, sprouting.
I hold myself from writing until it has grown heavy in my mind like a ripe pear. Pendant, gravid, asking to be cut or it will fall, a harvest or a death.
Of this aloud, if ever you have spent time worse ere now, if never, yet that time herself doth say she wishes earnestly you never may.
The welling gate of time, mysterious.
An hour stretched to 50 or 100 times its clock length. A brief shadow on the timepiece of the mind.
The lazy foot of time. Time travels in diverse paces and with diverse persons.
Time ambles with all, time trots with all, time gallops with all, and time stands still with all.
Through all time, we are fabulous.
Or mysterious.
Or pitiable.
Or reproachable.
But forever knowable and new. Time, what a topic. I loved writing of it, now I'm folded in it.
No past, present, and future. We are where we are. The time and the where just an illusion, depending on where we are at the moment. This is now, and yet we were in the past.
Place flows through centuries. We are here, and then, and on a stage and in a book somewhere else. And at the same time, I'm in Warwickshire, as you loved it and lived it.
Then you were there too.
I love you all, but never the English. Roses have thorns and silver fountains mud. Clouds and eclipses stain both moon and sun, and loathsome canker lives in sweet bud.
Even my flowers have their feet in mud. Thistles thrive in wastelands.
Willpower. Whoever hath her wish, thou hast thy will, and will to boot, and will an overplus.
More than enough am I that vex thee still, to thy sweet will making addition thus. A punster, better a spinster spinning tales.
Time begins for us in Stratford. Swans white upon the water that stroke the graceful willow's arms. 16th century England!
From your beginnings are ours too. The thatched cottage with small dark rooms, women's faces more than men's. The glorious flower riot outside, the fragrant roses massed and thick.
Thistles pushing through the stone fences and showing their purple spikes.
We should boast of our thorns.
The spreading mulberry, shading the path to the church, containing your tomb.
But I am here. I live because each of you is immortal.
We have multi-dimensions, shared and apart, then and now, here and there.
History, legend, myth, fiction, time. I like being a myth, partaking of many tales because it expands, contracts.
Time, they always try to pin me down. Plays, novels, discoveries of my palace, tracing my footprints. But you made me more.
I exist. Don't I?
Oh, we are all truly here, only some of us never were, really.
Judith, for example, is as real as every woman who longed to be a writer.
But what is true and what is fact are not always the same. The longing for more for one's own life? I burn for adventure. London and fame.
We all deserve fame.
And education.
And freedom.
We need more than grief as our monument.
Who is the queen without her title, obligations, and duty?
But if she exists in history like you, Catherine, Constance, Margaret, Portia, how does she exist today and tomorrow, all at the same time?
Matter of fact, legend, history, myth, but true, remember. Explaining life in terms of past, present, and future is egocentric, subjective. We are where now is.
Ladies, we are hot!
Pardon me, but I made you that way. Some of you are much more intriguing than in any history. Let's on a creative insight, lady.
Like my Orlando Amelia. Pardon? Orinthia. You balance the female and the male.
Orinthia, you and I are myth.
Myth, legend, archetype.
Fiction, but notably true. I, a model of the noble Roman matron.
It's fun to fashion a Deborah, Circe, an Amazon, an extraordinary woman.
Aren't we all? But forgotten.
Or placed on a pedestal.
Or on her back.
An oxymoron. Forgotten memorabilia.
Certainly for a queen, the most personal is political. On her pedestal or on her back. My fertile body sold for peace. When old and dried in the fire of experience, I am discredited, known only as a cursing crone, ignored and humiliated.
An old cast-off wife. On a pedestal? Huh. On stage, once mine was a coveted part for great actresses. Not now. I vanish, disappear, disperse. I'm about to weep, but thinking that we are a queen, or long dream so certain the daughter of a king, my drops of tears all turn to sparks of fire.
The noble Roman matron. Audiences love to see me on stage. But all is vanity.
Will, you put me in 4 plays. 4 plays to develop who I am. But who knows Margaret? The lady wooed, the woman won, the queen widowed, the crone accursed. Dismissed without ceremony from the play. Margaret who?
Audiences, they're fickle. I was a favorite for 200 years.
But you are here today and on our journey through the centuries.
I'm seldom on the stage, Will.
Who needs subplots, they say? Troilus and Cressida is about the Greek and Trojan War. I'm the titillation.
War is the language that men understand, a way for them to see themselves. Women are mute.
It isn't words we need.
But who feeds the warriors? Who makes their clothes? Who is their anchor?
Men feel with their groin. Hear what they want to understand. Troilus? Who believed me? If I be false, or swerve a hair from truth, when time is old and hath forgot itself, and water drops have worn the stones of Troy, and blind oblivion swallowed cities up, and mighty states charterless are graded to dusty nothing, yet let memory from faults to faults among false maids in love upbraid my falsehood. I meant that. I just could not fulfill it.
And Constance Criswell, the daughter of Melithony.
The serpent of the Nile. Plutarch was more accurate. He shows my ability as a ruler, not just as a lover.
I saw you as a lover, not a fighter.
No one remembers my role in the world that was Rome, just a wife, not a partner. Will gives me wisdom, but today, Portia is the other heroine who saves a man in Merchant of Venice, another world altogether.
Your comedies boast witty, clever women, but still they save, forgive, and wed asses and fools. Why?
Because it's funny.
Oh! It drives me crazy. My dream, to refuse to forgive my disgusting brother, and there is more.
always want to be on top.
What to do with an Amazon? Tame her. Head of the bed, head of the house, head of the state. Duty and faith guide me, as history or as invention. First sold to his brother, and next to King Henry's bed. My children cursed, marriage annulled, priests banished, locked away. Bring me a constant woman to her husband, one that ne'er dreamed a joy beyond his pleasure. And to that woman, when she has done most, yet I will add in honor a great patience. Trapped, and unable to produce a healthy son.
Ow! It's genetics, you know! But you didn't, did you? This heir business is not the woman's fault. Injustice! If for a queen, a princess of Wales, how much more for a peasant?
Will was clever. Being political saved you from Marlowe's early grave. Or years imprisoned in the tower. My son needs more. From me he suckled valor, but he reaped his reward from his own unbending pride.
All I had was grief. My crown to fill the room and to walk with me. I was nothing but mother to a prince. Men blame grief on my pride and my ambition. But now I will campaign against injustice. And make a queen a pawn.
Or a pawn a queen. Or nothing. A daughter when only a son will do.
Constance, Katerina in The Taming of a Shrew. Kate the Shrew, but she calls herself the Shrewd. It's taken her 300 years to learn how to perfect this one. To demonstrate her true obedience to her husband, she now says, Sisters, be submissive and demure. Place thy hand beneath thy husband's foot. In token of which duty, if it please, my hand is ready. May it do him ease. Or not. Kate is much better at it. And her husband more clumsy. Overthrow the dominant paradigm.
Oh, all's well that ends well. Someday Helena in that play will tell her faithless Bertram, do you see this ring? Do you see this belly? You are really not worth all the energy and planning and trying to make you behave like an adult. All will be well with me. I am going to explore China with my friend, Fare thee well.
What do men know?
Just their take on life in general.
No, we are purity on pedestals.
Or as I invent you.
Mysterious or perverted?
Or as scholars conclude you must be.
Lustful or frigid, frightening and seductive.
Unknowing and unknowable.
Waiting to be heard.
Finding the time and resources to create.
Waiting for recognition of wisdom in a mature body.
Hoping for control and autonomy. Being able to make choices.
Cherishing control of destiny.
Finally, in the end, the readiness is all.
We must conform to a certain shape or weight to prove our love. We must grovel, debase, wound, and suffer. Brutus would only hear me when I stabbed myself in the thigh. Otherwise, he was totally deaf. Voiceless. A silent statue. My mother was silent. For 16 years she vanished, and I never knew her, never saw her. Such a terrible loss.
It is hard to be a history that is inescapable. We are
Chronicled and interpreted by historians.
Will's invention and my own person.
And whomever the actor chooses to create. It is obvious that Lady Macbeth, Cordelia, Ophelia, and many of your other women are by no means what you pretend them to be. They are either plainly men in disguise or what men are conscious of not being.
Thought they were human, not androgynous.
Oh, were you thinking they are balanced? Shadow and light, emotion and reason within our manners.
You are all all in a novel through time, like Orlando. What a project!
So many of us would have been happier as men. The freedom, the choices.
Without the love of men and the encumbrance of skirts.
First, we were all played by men. That did not mean we were men in women's costumes. It meant that we were women being played by men. Surely that alters who's seen. Play me, Will. And it is different. If I be false, to swerve a hair from truth. Begin.
All right. If I be false to swerve a hair from truth, when time is old and hath forgot itself, when water drops have worn the stones of Troy and blind oblivion swallowed cities up and mighty states charterless, degraded to trusting nothing, yet let memory from faults to faults among faults made in love upbraid my fault of it. What? What's so funny?
And as an Amazon, I am in the garden walking with my woman, radiant and beguiling. Of all the flowers, methinks the rose is best. It is the very emblem of a maid.
For when the west wind courts it gently, how modestly she blows and cakes the sun with her chaste blushes. When the north comes near, rude and impatient, then like chastity she locks her beauties in her bud again and leaves him to base briars. Oh, the sun goes high. Let's walk in. Oh, keep these flowers. We'll see how close art can come near the colors. Oh, I am wondrous merry-hearted. I could laugh.
I could lie down, I'm sure.
And take one with you.
That's as we bargain matter.
We'll agree then.
Now, mine.
My son, I mock at death.
My son, I mock at death. With a heart as big as thou. Thy valor was mine. Thou tookest it from me. But own thy pride thyself. All right! The convention is obviously different. But what about women playing men?
Rosalind, Portia, Viola in disguise.
No, Hamlet. These 19th and 20th century leading ladies like Sarah Bernhardt or Charlotte Cushman, they became the melancholy dame.
Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage wand?
Tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing.
Why, what an ass am I? This is most brave, that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words and fall a cursing like a very drab, a scullion.
I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions.
The spirit that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this.
I don't know.
The convention is different. Times change, Mr. Shakespeare.
Time uses its wings to overthrow law and overwhelm custom.
Forget past and present. We are who we are in terms of correlations, relationships.
Oh, relationships, women live through them, don't we? And are known by them.
Woman's life is connections with emotions, people, her family, her children.
Brutus's wife, she was, who? Can't we cut her part and save the cost of another actor? Portia. Great play title.
But who would come? Was she in the play? Oh, let's sharpen the political theme. The scene with her doesn't develop Brutus's character.
Yes, Brutus's wife? gracious, commend me to my lord. Say I am married, come to me again and bring me word what he doth say to thee. Expendable.
Will, the other Portia, the lawyer, why is it funny to marry her to an uncaring man?
Right.
Witty, wealthy, educated, and she wins that fool Bassanio at the end of Merchant of Venice.
He really prefers Antonio to her.
But she's wealthy and he is hocked up to his ears. Portia saves Bassanio. Portia wins Bassanio. Portia wonders why she is an idiot.
A better ending for two gentlemen of Verona. No more boys will sow their oats. Julia will tell her fickle gentleman.
Oh, Herodias, let this habit make thee blush. Thou art inconstant as the tide, and so farewell. Seek a dowry elsewhere. Sylvia and I go to Scotland to heal the sick.
And Portia, at the end of Merchant in Venice, is free to make a different choice. She may save him, but she doesn't have to marry him. Bassanio, you have your chest and flesh intact. Antonio, your ship came in. Fare you both well. My fortune and I are nomads. Wait, that'll work for me too in this time. No more longing. Watch out, Richard. You'll need more than a horse to escape me.
This is fun. Know what else we share? We don't have mothers.
Will, if we are defined by our relationships, what do you write about? Women and their husbands.
And lovers.
Women and their brothers.
Women and their sisters.
Women and their sons.
Women and their wise servants.
Daughters and
Fathers. Lots of paternity.
No mothers for the daughters.
Daughters for mothers.
Most I never even mentioned.
Lady Capulet and Elizabeth and Richard III.
Well, more like business managers.
I longed for my mother for 16 years.
None of us have mothers.
Marina from Pericles, my soulmate. Lost without father or a mother, her life is in the shadow. Carrying a flower basket, she walks by the sea thinking of her mother.
I will not rob the earth her weed to strew thy grave with flower, mother. The yellow, blues, the purple violets and marigold shall as a carpet hang upon thy grave while summer do last. I me, poor maid, born in a tempest when my mother died, this world to me is like a lasting storm, worrying me from my friends. Your life is pastoral compared to her ordeals. Finally, Marina is united with her mother Thaisa, not dead, but rescued and serving as priestess in Diana's temple at Ephesus.
Hermione's return at the end of the winter's tale is for you. When you kneel at her feet, she says, "You gods, look down, and from your sacred vials pour your graces upon my daughter's head. Tell me my own. Where hast thou been preserved? Where lived? How found thy father's court? For thou shalt hear that I, knowing by Paulina that the oracle gave hope thou wast in being, have preserved myself to see the issue." So, Perdita, are you and Marina mid? Are you and your mothers Persephone and Demeter? Are you true? Yes. Are you fat?
Wait, a new ending for your play. Your mother sends a message to you, meets you and Paulina, and makes an exit for a new life. So when your abusive father opens the curtain, instead of a statue, he finds an empty pedestal with a note saying, "Farewell to you, your insane jealousy and unbounded cruelty."
Perhaps. I like that, and she has changed, especially in the last 200 years. Time does redefine us.
There is Cressida, as Will imagines and creates in his mind.
There's Cressida when she is ink on paper.
There's Cressida in ancient Troy, attacked by Greeks, or in Italy, besieged by France, or in Saigon, surrounded by the beat paw.
A most wonderful chameleon.
And here she is, as she is.
Shakespeare's timeless creations, true for us and Judith and Virginia too. Each moment is a now and ever present.
Age cannot wither me, nor custom stale my infinite variety. Timeless.
I have never craved long life for myself, but for you and my art, immortality. Like Orlando, a man-woman with her pearls and oak tree poem, all time is her world.
My time is always brutish. Yours too, Judith. It is here.
Immortals, moving through time, still recreating your history in kind and unkind.
I still see our journey. See the beginning with me. Long-term memory works, right? More trouble with last April than 400 Aprils ago. Time travel gives me a headache.
It's an adventure. Vertigo, vertigo.
The Renaissance flowers with ideas, music, poetry, and painting. Sunlight bathed the world.
At least for mankind. Western man's Renaissance. Even Elizabeth the Queen's life was an uneasy truce to maintain her duty. So educated, so effective. Some men even speculated she must have been a man in disguise.
It was a world about men, and their world in the resemblance to men. Comparisons were made with men. God, angels, kings, men, beasts, to all how they resemble men who are the center of the universe. Or how men see things or dream of them.
This is not who I am.
Such tidy thoughts and reference. Nothing exists if it doesn't fit into their scheme of things.
Exclude what is different or mysterious, all of the others. Like women.
Women lived like bats or owls, labored like beasts, and died like worms.
For the real Elizabethan woman, like me.
Well, like you if you'd really been real.
Right? There are no historic facts. History scarcely mentions women except perhaps a queen or a great lady. But not a middle-class woman with nothing but brains and character.
When Will was most active, women were without voices and could not even write. Masculine times.
It is impossible for any woman, past, present, or to come, to have the genius of Shakespeare.
Thank you very much.
Oh, certainly impossible, completely and entirely, for any woman to have written Will's plays during the time that he lived.
Oh, some people think it's impossible for Will to have written his
Let's go there.
The Renaissance needed
a revolution.
No, a movement.
Less than a century after your death, we are played by women.
No more men with squeaky voices and drag skirts on the English stage, except in comic pantomimes.
Good. Women on stage at last. Women playwrights. Hurrah! But no more interpretations by men?
Almost. 20th century women actors still were shaped by managers, coaches, and directors.
Publicists and audiences.
Into what she should be. Where is she? Who knows? So many traps. Her shape, her desires, her morality, her desirability, her movement.
Morality imposed as duty. If I had not been bound by treaties and the Pope, if there had been a path that was not narrow, if duty had not been linked with morality, and if my fate had not been linked with the stability of the Tudor succession.
If St. Anne's were pots and pans, there'd be no need of tinkers.
Good! Yes. Let's banish ifs and seize acts.
From these beginnings in our lives, we may prophesy our acts to come.
A man may prophesy with a near aim at the main chance of things as yet not come to life, which in their seed and weak beginnings lie entreasured.
What about woman?
I meant woman too. Man is universal, inclusive.
Why didn't we know that?
Then perhaps we might say, a woman may prophesy we are the hatch and root of time.
But what about man?
I meant man too. Woman is universal.
You go, girl.
The universal she, moving from Will's time
To the 18th century.
Classical and orderly beginning.
And we?
To know in this case means, how is it representative of a certain class of men and their world?
Women are a buried Troy, the strata to be recovered.
This time is a chimera, a mirage that seems to float. Nothing of substance. It is all in the manner of things.
The essence is the surface. If polished, sufficient.
More ordinary people with influence. More ordinary people in the audience.
Queen Anne, good breeding and decorum.
Men,
Dryden.
Dryden. He made me into a sentimental, lovesick girl in all for love. I at least should have been heroic.
By this time, women lose their wit, it seems, and we...
the graces of bowing, letter writing, dictionaries.
Grace with the sword and fan.
Revolutions, reactions, and reflections.
Commerce, China, cards, and chocolate. Collie Sibber revised my plays.
Sailing ship, brocade, silk.
And then it is engulfed.
A fluid folding of time it bends.
A chilled blackness hanging over us. A cloud of dark and confusion.
The 19th century. It is damp and chilly. My birth century.
Chilly hearts and minds, so rugs appear, and beards, and men's trousers fastened under the instep.
But a passion rises, throwing off order in the past.
Romanticism.
Still, women who spoke up were called hyenas in petticoats. I resembled that.
A woman on the throne again, Victoria. This time with an adoring husband.
Furniture muffled, walls covered, and the legs of tables, chairs discreetly hidden.
The debut of muffin and crumpets and after-dinner coffee.
Mantelpieces with artificial flowers and little dogs and doilies. More revisions of our plays by Edmund Kean.
Our tragedies with happy endings. Cordelia revives in Lear's arms and marries Edgar. Hamlet lives and rules Denmark.
But Ophelia still goes mad. It's a world of no open conversation. Houses hidden in ivy.
The British Empire is born. The sun never sets upon it. The growth of science. Smokestacks, whirling wheels, and steam.
Love and birth and death, and bodies all swathed in polite phrases.
Women bore 15 to 18 children before their 30th birthday.
Women stayed home, wore a gold ring, and were legal property of their husbands.
Little time to write in closed houses.
George Eliot and George Sand. Jane Austen and the Brontes. I was muse for them. And for Virginia as well.
I'm a giant in Germany.
Sentences swelled, adjectives multiplied. Anthropology, sociology.
Realism for theatrical sets. But we're veneer of eloquent syllables, hysteria, and gesture.
I see a lightning storm.
Electrical energy racing to disperse the Victorian clouds.
Freud opens up the soul of man.
But what does woman want?
The 20th century. A century of contrast, but no balance, no proportion.
Men! No, I mean men, not people. Men pursue eternal things. See, I listen, ladies.
Skirts become narrow, and we can see our bodies but cannot run. But then, hemlines rise. Now at last we wear trousers. Easier to run, to ride, to play sports, to compete.
Rosalind's loose on the world.
A woman's voice and even a vote. But being royal still is a painful labor without love.
Privacy and distance begin to vanish.
Hot and cold water, hot and cold air indoors. Supermarkets and famine, growth and destruction.
World wars and civil wars.
The power to heal and to destroy. New drugs and ancient viruses. Seacraft and aircraft and spacecraft. Electricity gives light to paint the theater with emotion, and moving pictures begin to speak our words.
Maps are redrawn. The mountains and the moon and Mars. Images fractured, light flickered. Silicon chips, instant messages. Yeah, I'm an industry with a website.
The pill! Oh, it took a long time to discover this trick again. Instant ideas, fast food, exercise clubs, transplants, biogenetics.
Some of us are on the screen as well as the stage. Critics decide we'll direct parts of my play after all.
We have new images and interpretations. Theda Barra, Claudette Colbert, Elizabeth Taylor, Vivian Lee, Vanessa Redgrave.
Shakespeare in love!
Love on the Thames.
So this is next.
The future is here.
The world is a web. It is magnificent.
Now that we're here, give me a challenge. Whom should I reclaim?
Ophelia.
Desdemona in Othello.
Yes. I just love the ending. I can do a dramatic.
Wait! Rethink this. Amelia, Desdemona's lady-in-waiting is...
Matter of fact, pragmatic, witty.
Desdemona waits for her husband to come deliver his own jealous justice. Perdita, today you are saving Desdemona. Rethink that ending. And Portia, you're perfect as the pragmatist.
Give me another shot!
All right. rulers, we all will give our wisdom as Amelia. Perdita, you're on.
Dost thou in conscience think, tell me, Amelia, that there be women do abuse their husbands in such gross kind?
That there be some such.
No question. Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
The world's a huge thing. It is a great price for a small vice.
In truth, I think thou wouldst not.
In truth, I think I should, and undo it when I had done. Mary, I would not do such a thing for a joint ring, nor for measures of lawn, nor for gowns, nor for petticoats, nor caps, nor for any petty exhibition, but for all the whole world.
Who would not make her husband a cuckold to make him a monarch? I should venture purgatory for it.
Beshrew me if I should do such a wrong for all the world.
Why, the wrong is but a wrong in the world, and having the world for your labor, 'tis a wrong in your own world, and you might quickly make it right.
I do not think there is any such woman.
Oh, yes, there does. And as many to the vantage as would store the world they play for. But I do think it is their husband's fault if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties and pour our treasures into foreign laps, or else break out into peevish jealousies.
Throwing restraint upon us? Or say they strike us, or scant our former having in despite? Why, we have gall, and though we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know that wives have sense like them. They see and smell, and have palate for both sweet and sour, as husbands have.
What is it that they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? Oh, I think it doth. Is it frailty that thus errs?
It is so too, and have we not affections, desires for sport, and frailty as men have? Then let them use us well, else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
Good night. Good night. God me such uses send, not to pick bad from bad, but by bad mend.
Think again. Desdemona is bound to an abusive life, condemned by a hanging, so she submits.
Let me try one more time. From then
let them use us well, else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
Good night. Good night. God me such uses send, not to pick bad from bad, but by bad mend. As for tonight, we must away. I do not doubt my husband's foolish rage engendered by a hanky loss. To save myself and him as well, let us at once depart. To longer stay would not be smart.
You're right, my friend. Abuse must end. Cruel husbands never mend.
Thank you, ladies. Perdita at last is found. Oh, how much more doth beauteous seem by that sweet ornament which truth doth bring. For you, there's rosemary and rue. These keep seeming and savor all the winter long. Grace and remembrance be to you. Not yet on summer's death, nor on the birth of trembling winter. The fairest flowers of the season are our carnations and sweet skillifores. Here's flowers for you. Hot lavender. Mince. Savory. Marjoram. And the marigold that goes to bed with the sun, and with him rises weeping. These are the flowers of middle summer. And now, my fair friends, some flowers of the spring that might become your time of day. Violets dim, but sweeter than the lids of Juno's eyes or Cynthia's breath. Pale primroses. And for you, bold ox lips.
My ladies, truly. Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I has mine own, which now is fate. You have mastered the master.
Your words are music,
But we have our own harmonies. Reviewed, revised, revisioned, reframed. Will you listen?
Actors on our own stage.
Will yourself
Submit your will.
Not on pedestals.
Willingly.
Or in the mud.
not discarded because we are old.
We will see.
Will be remembered.
Eternal, ephemeral, eloquent. I must put you all in a novel. We are magnificent. I love us all.
If music be the food of love, play on.